listen to the algorithms because the algorithms are trained on what people like.
Yeah. And it gives you the best insights on how you need to evolve whatever tool you're using. I mean, our producers have said, we're not going to do the audiograms anymore when we promote our potty on our potty.
Oh no.
That's your
stinger, baby.
Hello, and welcome to Think Fresh, a podcast brought to you by DeNovo Marketing's Collective Creative. Coming to you from our Ideas Institute and here to talk about all things marketing. Insights on new trends, innovative ideas, and marketing tools you can use in your day-to-day life. And whatever else we deem relevant. I'm Jen Newman, DeNovo CEO, and your host.
And I'm Ryan Schoenefeld, Head of Digital, Account Manager, and your other host. Today, we're going to talk about video podcasting and a whole bunch of other stuff.
It is kind of a crapshoot today, isn't it?
But that's a great foray into, you can see us, friends. Yeah. You can see us. We're here. We're in your YouTube feed, on your social feeds. This is a different experience from being in front of the camera and not just behind a microphone now, Jen.
It's different, all right. I'm trying not to think about it. I'm pretending that we're just doing the podcast as we normally do. So.
It's normal. But look at this.
I know.
Truly,
it's amazing.
This space, the video team, they built this out, and I love it. We've got a squirrel. We've got some gorgeous plants and greenery, all still from the Ideas Institute.
And built by our team.
Yes.
100% built by our team. So shout out to the video team. It's amazing. So.
Yes, all the people behind the cameras and behind the audio right now, we're the ones who built all of this. So very proud, very exciting. But Jen, video podcast. I've got to ask, how do you feel about video podcasts? How do you feel about all of this? Are you a video podcast consumer?
So I'm not.
Okay.
Podcasts for me are for mowing the lawn and, folding laundry and things like that. And so I've never, to be honest, spent much time watching podcasts. I've maybe seen a couple of them. I personally am a little nervous about doing this, and it feels kind of weird. But I also look at the statistics and know that this is the way this medium is moving, and we want to make sure that we are not only producing a podcast that people listen to or maybe want to watch, but we're doing this in ways that people want to consume this media. And also, this is what we do for our clients too.
Right.
So building out the studio in particular was really fun. Checked a goal off the list. So, I'm here for it. I'm here.
Exactly. And I also, very similarly to you, I listen to podcasts when I'm doing other things generally, but saw some stats out there that 70% of people are now, when it comes to video podcasts, they are tuning in. They're watching them on YouTube while they're eating dinner, while they're doing, while they're cooking dinner, et cetera. They're fully locked in to this medium. They're not just listening while they're mowing the lawn, doing the laundry, et cetera. They're there. They're locked in.
Yeah.
And it's also a little crazy to think that these other platforms that were traditionally audio only are now leaning in on that as well. It's not just people going to YouTube, it's Spotify now adding in video to their platforms. There's other places doing it too. Netflix also already has them and making it a larger portion of their platform in 2026. So it's definitely growing, and people want it. They want that Barbara Walters interview style, I think, that we saw growing up.
It's interesting to me just to think about how video as a medium has changed over the years and during my career. And there was a time where, video was really super expensive to produce. And, in the end, you got a tape, or you got eventually a CD, right? And then eventually you got a thumb drive, and then eventually it moved to streaming, and it started becoming a little bit more accessible. And there are varying levels. I mean, there are videos that are, you invest a lot more in. There are videos that you create a little bit more on the fly, or a little bit more of a casual approach to them. But it's interesting to see podcasts move that direction too. We shouldn't really be surprised.
Right.
I mean, visual mediums have always been important and always been effective for that matter. So So if the people want to see us, like, here we are.
Yes, this is us. This is us.
Our tens of listeners.
And one of the things, too, as we've talked about on this podcast for a number of episodes, and just kind of the theme throughout our 20 episodes, authenticity. And I think this proves to people we are humans. We are not AI audio. We're here. You can see us. It's that authentic look and feel that people are going for.
You can see everything. You can see the laugh line.
We've got great cameras. You can see everything.
Yeah.
Add a blur on
Great.
there.
I didn't need to think about that.
sorry.
So.
But that is also one of the pieces. We've got 20 episodes, right? And I would say that could be daunting for some people who want to start listening to a podcast. And one of the things that I have used video podcasts for is I see the clips on social, right? I've seen Good Hang with Amy Poehler. I've seen So True with Caleb Heron. It's little short clips that then give me a taste for what that's going to be. And then I can say, oh, I do want to listen to that. I'm really interested.
Yeah. You might not watch it, but you will tune in. And I've seen a lot of those clips too. So again, not really a podcast watcher, but definitely get served up some of those clips, which do definitely hook me in for the audio side of it. So
yeah, you see it on social, and then you go and subscribe. I still use Apple Podcasts. I'm curious if Apple is going to get into the video podcasting space as well. We've got Apple TV. Apple Podcasts is a separate app. I wonder if we'll ever have a merger between those two Apple platforms, and I wonder if they would pull podcasts into Apple TV, or if they would pull TV into Apple Podcasts.
I don't know, but I feel like we're going to have a producer's note later on that says, fact check, they do.
It's already there, dummy. Whoops.
You guessed it. It's me, Annie, with a producer's note. Normally I come here to set the record straight when Jen, or mostly Ryan, confidently misspeak. But this time I have to give him credit. Ryan was right, and right on time. To be fair, we were all a little wrong. Apple actually was the first platform to support video podcasts, all the way back in 2005 when I was still rocking an iPod Nano and YouTube was in its infancy. As you can imagine, that feature has been described as clunky. But just days after recording this podcast, Apple announced that an upgraded, integrated video experience is officially coming to Apple Podcasts this spring. So well done, Ryan, for that very astute prediction. Okay, back to the show.
And one of the pieces about leveraging video for a podcast is you're maximizing your content. We're already recording the audio for this. We can add in a component of video. When we're posting these, we're also doing a transcript so it can go in the blog as well for some SEO juice. We're maximizing our opportunities here. So cutting this up into clips gives people more ways to consume it and just really maximize the time that it takes to record a podcast. And we're listening to the same recommendations we give to our clients, right? We're seeing that video is the way that people want to be consuming this content. So we want to make sure that we are leveraging more video, less graphic-only content. Listen to the algorithms, because the algorithms are trained on what people like.
Yeah, and it gives you the best insights on how you need to evolve whatever tool you're using. I mean, our producers have said, we're not going to do the audiograms anymore when we promote our potty on our potty.
Oh no!
That's your
stinger, baby.
This gives us so many slices of content that we can use, not just to promote our podcast, but we can showcase our culture. We can showcase that we do podcasts. Call me for your podcast. But really being able to utilize that content in multiple ways, which is an economical way to do it, right? Nobody should just be producing one-offs and then putting them on a shelf after they, run on social media or their website for a bit and then put them on the shelf and you never touch them again. You can slice and dice those into multiple pieces of content. And that's really important for brands to understand. And just one more reason why a video podcast can be a really powerful piece of your content library. So here we are. We're doing it.
And the big piece that I want to go back to like the vertical video format, right? TikTok started that, then it went into Reels on Instagram and Facebook, and most recently LinkedIn. So those business themes podcasts, et cetera, they now have a place on LinkedIn.
All right, but if I see any vertical videos on LinkedIn of some dude in his car, like expounding on life, I might leave the platform.
There is something to the algorithm that people like watching people talk to their phone in a car. I don't, but it must perform well because people will go out into their car to film videos. I'm like, stop it.
I don't know. Sometimes the light's better, but
And then also, if LinkedIn all of a sudden becomes a place where you can watch chicken videos, then
I'm in. So that's straight up chicken influencer videos.
As long as it is not AI garbage that I'm now seeing invade my Instagram feed, and I hope, Jen, that the prediction of separating those out or de-emphasizing those algorithmically happens sooner rather than later, because it's getting me.
Okay, so this is kind of off topic, but kind of on topic.
It's a crapshoot today. It's
this
on topic.
This is a crapshoot. This is what this is. What Olivia from our team shared on Slack, that you can look at what the algorithm, they're saying that you can control what the algorithm shows you on Instagram. I don't know if I agree with it, but it will tell you what it thinks you like, and it'll tell you what it thinks you don't like.
Right.
It was pretty wrong for me, honestly. Nowhere in there did it say chicken videos,
right,
or even farm videos.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem to pick up on things that I don't like either. So I did add some things, and so far it's actually been feeding me more political stuff, even though I said I don't like political videos. So I think they're just trying to get you to tell you what you want, and
right.
maybe you say you don't want it, and they think we'll rage bait them.
Yeah, so. It's that control element. People want to be in control, because when you think about the algorithm, even on our end, we know best practices when it comes to the algorithm, but it's a black box. You don't necessarily know what's going to happen. And I think people, consumers, they say, "Oh, I don't like social media. I can't really control it." Right? They're giving you the glimmer of hope.
So I don't know, this might be one of those things where you say something and then, you get served an ad, so you think your phone's listening to you, which it might be. But I did say I do not want to watch videos of anybody putting on makeup, and I don't think I've gotten any in my feed since then. So let's hope that holds, because I hate those.
Yes, my feed right now is only focused on the Olympics. I cannot get through this podcast in February without mentioning the Olympics. The opening ceremony, wonderful. It's a little bit different. We had 4 different areas where people were having the opening ceremony, so you didn't have everyone in one big room. Jen, did you watch the opening ceremony? Have you watched the Olympics yet?
I have watched the pieces that Doug has made me watch, which is mostly, I think it was luge or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he mostly just called me in. And Andrew, our producer, will think this is cool too. Like, they have a drone that comes down sort of a different chute, and then it follows them down, but the drone loses them fast. And then it's just the cameras on the course. I did think that was kind of cool. And then I watched curling the other day.
I love curling.
I feel like maybe I could do curling.
Cedar Rapids has a curling club.
It does. I have a friend who's on the curling team, so there's my opportunity. Adrian, call me. I'm ready to join the team.
I'm curling curious, and
curious.
And as of today, I will not have any spoilers. As of today, the Americans are going for the gold in curling. They are from Duluth, Minnesota.
They're adorable.
Going for the gold. I love them. Corey and Corey.
Are they a team? Are they a team?
They are not. Yeah, so. They are not.
Oh my God! When I do air quotes now, you can see them.
You can see it. You can see it. They. I don't know about the woman Corey, but the man Corey does have a fiance, and she's been at the Olympics too. So I'm curious as to how that dynamic started. I know one of them moved from Pennsylvania to Duluth to start training, but they're gonna get at least a silver medal, and I'm so excited for it.
I didn't think I would be that excited about curling, because it is kind of slow.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I'm like, what are they doing? Why are they just running a broom in front of it? And how does that help? And Doug's like, oh, that's how they get a curve. And yeah. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I think I can do it.
But the drones, it really is amazing. And there's actually drone Olympics, which I didn't realize. They have people, there's obstacle courses that these drone operators will do. And it's a very advanced version of RC cars, right? It's these people who are just really, really good at these. And I thought, why do they have to get really good at flying a drone? And then you see the Olympics and these people following them. They're following them on downhill ski tracks too. It's insane.
They're on a ski track.
No, they're flying. They're flying it behind the people.
They're not on skis and operating the drone.
That would be wild. But it just shows how much control and how close they have to be. It's also wild to think that we might see a clip of a drone hitting an athlete.
Okay. You can probably bet on that now.
Oh, so. You can bet on everything. With the Super Bowl, they were betting on literally everything.
That was the only interesting thing, I think, for us in the Super Bowl was like what my husband had placed dumb bets on. So, because, and we'll talk about it later, but that was a super lame Super Bowl.
Yes. And we mentioned this in the last podcast. We have some updates from the Edelman Trust Barometer, right? Like the state of the world is changing. Yep. And Edelman, we did a podcast on the 2025 barometer.
And by the time this runs, I will have a blog post. This is my way of keeping myself accountable. Like, by the time this podcast runs, I'll have my blog written on this year's. So this year's theme was insularity. And if you were tuned into it last year, or you go back and watch that or listen to that podcast that we did before, where we talked about the crisis of grievances, is where we were last year. So everybody, that we've shifted from a we to a me mentality. It got deeper this year. There's not a lot of good news in the report, honestly, other than, eventually a pendulum has to swing. But trust is really at all-time lows. And people are seeking information from only the sources that they trust and more from peers. And if you look back 20 years, you can start seeing where people started turning to other people for information rather than trusted sources, because they were rapidly losing trust among world events that were happening. So this insular trust mindset, people are dug in a little deeper than they were even last year. So businesses and brands still rank better, which I'm not sure what that says about the world, honestly. And remember, this is a global report,
right?
But you can get the U.S. Pull out on that. They haven't released the toggle on that yet, but you can go in and figure it out. So it's things really haven't changed a lot. Maybe trust has decreased a little, but people have dug in deeper on where they get their information and who they trust. And where they are getting that information becomes, for lack of a better term, or this is the real technical term, sketchy.
Yeah, right.
It just is getting sketchier and sketchier. So, it leads to health issues. This leads to people getting poor financial advice. I mean, this has implications for everybody. The implications when it comes to business and brands are that, continuing to work to build trust with your brand, leveraging your own platform as a brand and as a trusted voice, really digging in on authority is where I think that businesses can utilize this information and maybe even bring it back a little bit. I'm a big believer in the idea that the pendulum always swings. So I think it has to come back at least a little bit at some point. Like, I'm not sure it can get much lower.
Right. I mean, based on the statistics, it can't, unless they're going negative, right? During I think it was during COVID, they had the hot spots, right? And they needed to go hotter than red, so they made purple. Yeah. They made purple. Like, this is where it's bad.
This is super bad. It's purple. So, I think that's it's in a tough spot. So, leveraging your employees as spokespeople, leveraging your own authority, and leaning into what well as a business or a nonprofit. And even though government organizations are among the least trusted, that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be attempting to share information. It's harder now, but going in and doing that from a storytelling perspective, leaning into people rather than especially AI right now. The people in the U.S. trust AI. We're among the lowest in the world of people who trust AI, and people, the lower their income, the more they believe their job will be replaced by AI.
And this was all reported in the latest report.
Yep,
the
this was all, and this showed up last year too. But now we've got that full year of mainstream AI, and it is interesting as income levels go up. People have less fear about AI taking their job, which I thought was interesting too. So, but I think as trust continues to sit at incredibly low points, it's probably more important than ever that businesses don't lean on it for their main source of communication, for critical things that they are trying to share about, whether it's a brand or whether it's information or health, whatever it is. Don't overutilize AI in those instances. I think American sentiment around AI it's not very high right now.
Right. And you hear a bunch of stories right now in the news about people who are leaning in too much in their personal lives into AI, and it's causing some problems. The opening ceremony of the Olympics also used AI for some. Yes.
Not the Olympics.
Yes, they had an actress who was on The White Lotus, the Italian season of The White Lotus. She was phenomenal. She did great. But they had her flying through the sky, dropping into different time periods of the Olympics, and they animated it. And the animation, it was showing like glimmers to me of like the AI. I was like, ooh, this is some AI slop, unfortunately.
Oh, really? For the Olympics?
Yes.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it was hard. But you had mentioned that everything in the barometer is looking a little bleak, right?
Everything looks a little bleak.
I did pull out a glimmer of hope, and when ranking this, we talked about large corporations, distrust in government. When polled, my employer is trusted as the highest
Isn't that
institution.
weird?
Yeah, 78%. 78% of people trust their employer, and another piece of that was there was an increase. 11% of people increased trust in their coworkers, and 9% increase in their CEO.
Yeah. And so I think that was the global number on that. I can't remember what the U.S. number was off the top of my head. But I think I think they do something like 38,000 people are in this poll globally every year, somewhere around there. And, so you're going to have various sizes of companies. So you're going to have people who have access to their CEO and have close networks with their coworkers, and then you're going to have people who work in, fully remote or things like that, or no access to their leadership team. But I was surprised at that number, and I thought that's really important for businesses to understand, that they have that ability to use that for good, not for evil, right? But you can also leverage your employees as authentic spokespeople as well. If they trust you and you trust them, hey, that's a start.
Of course. And the other piece, we talked about that insularity, right? And people building those bubbles. If you think about it, you spend a lot of time with your coworkers. They are your bubble. So that's the other piece. I'm like, well, it's good that you have more or increased trust in your coworker, but that's reinforcing that bubble or that insularity a little bit.
I like
too.
the bubble here.
Same.
I'll hang out in this bubble all day long.
Of course. But it did harken back to, this is going a little bit further back in the podcast, but that bubble just made me think of social media during election times, right? And you always think like, oh, I'm only seeing this. It's going to be great. It's going to turn out in my favor. And then it doesn't. And you think, what the heck is going on? Your bubble. You only see pieces. So just thinking of as these bubbles start to form and it's really showing up in the barometer, it's like, what are we not seeing on the outside of our bubble? Right.
And that goes from both sides of the political spectrum for everything. It's like making sure that you're not just getting your information from one place. We're kind of losing this critical thinking aspect as a society, not to, go down a deep, dark rabbit hole here, but making sure that you are getting, more neutral information. I think there is a place for that in the news media and otherwise, but it's not as sexy. It's not as fun. It doesn't give you that, dopamine rush. So we'll see.
And Jen, you mentioned the AI, the over-reliance on AI. It's almost like people are losing that critical thinking skill, right?
Well, and, some people turn to AI for therapy, right? And for life advice. People are putting some of their deepest, darkest thoughts into platforms that I don't know that you should put your deepest, darkest thoughts into, first of all. And now, think about this, they might start getting ads. You are pouring your heart out and telling your AI therapist what's wrong with your life, and you start getting ads for medication.
Right. right? OpenAI has released, there are rumors coming out right now that OpenAI is going out to large global scale, polynational scale, large global scale agencies, giving them the in for a $200,000 minimum spend per month to place ads in ChatGPT results.
Yeah. Which they said that ads would be the last resort. And, this happens with, I think, every platform. So let the unshitification begin. It's coming for OpenAI right now, which, I think that's an in for my girl Gemini to keep climbing up the ranks.
Yeah.
So.
Another term in that space, as we get too reliant on AI models and not thinking, that critical thinking skill, outsourcing cognition. You're not thinking for yourself. You're really just using these platforms as your brain. Like some will even advertise themselves like Notion as your second brain, right?
Yeah, that's what we need.
Right. So. Like, no, just use the one you've got really well. What do you think about outsourcing cognition? Are you getting too familiar and too comfortable with AI for certain things?
Well, yes, for sure. Not sharing my deepest, darkest thoughts with it,
right.
But definitely use it as a way. I've tried kind of using it as a thought partner, but it just kind of echoes what I want to hear. So I don't think that it's very useful in that. I also really just hate the over gratuitous. And
you're so smart.
You're so smart.
Great idea.
Yeah. That's so great that you're thinking that way. So yes and no. It's a good way to kind of find some options and think through some things. But I've just found that it's kind of like being in a bubble and getting all your information, like my in-laws and a certain news network that they watch a lot.
Well, it's going back to the bubble, right?
Yeah.
You want to surround yourself with people that feel the same way about you on almost every topic. That's why people are using AI so much, because AI's doing the exact same thing back to you. You're pretty. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's an uncomfortable place for me with that. And I've tried to tell it to stop doing that, and it can't seem to remember it.
So Jen, we were covering kind of the trust piece of AI. How does that all tie back into trust of everybody with the barometer?
Well, I'm going to use a word that was used in our last podcast, discernment, right? It's what people can tell is real. It's what people, and people might even assume if it looks too perfect or just seems a little off to them, that it's AI, and that's an instant turn off in many cases. It's just not a dice you want to roll necessarily right now when it comes to creating major pieces of your content or your communications as a brand. So, I think people are looking for authenticity right now in a world where we're really lacking it. And it's an opportunity for brands that care about their brand, that care about how they are perceived by and whether they're building trust. It's an opportunity for those brands not to just blindly jump on the AI bandwagon. And I'm very pro AI.
Of course.
I mean, I use AI for lots of things. I'm a pretty heavy user, but it's just never going to take the place of human creative. It's certainly never going to take the place of human creative at DeNovo. And I think that companies that just disinvest in human ingenuity will pay the price for that later. And they also won't have the trusted employees who trust their CEO and who go out and talk about their brands because they're undercutting themselves when they do it. So if you have an opportunity to build trust right now in this world, you should take it. And you don't do that by putting out AI slop.
Well said. Okay, Jen, now it's time for our segment called Creative Briefs. This is where we dig into a marketing campaign or company idea and see what insights we can learn from their marketing moves. So the Super Bowl just happened, right?
So, yeah.
The mecca of advertising.
The world's lamest Super Bowl.
Right, so. Right. The Super Bowl, the actual sports that were happening, and remember this is a sports podcast.
It's not.
The sports that were happening were really boring.
Yeah.
What do you think about the commercials?
I thought brands played it pretty safe this year. Back to the Edelman's Trust Barometer, there was a lot of self-care and take care of yourself and, care for other people. There was quite a bit of that. Maybe, I'm not quantifying this exactly, but I'd say maybe a little bit more than previous years.
Yeah.
Which was fine. But I would just say the ads averaged a B-.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. And the other interesting part they showed them on YouTube, on their social feeds before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They used to unveil at the Super Bowl and then promote them, right? They're flipping the script on that now. I think they're testing to see, do I need to pay this $8 million or will we still get some?
Or can I get extra juice out of my $8 million because people are curious and they want that, like, oh, I saw it before it was on the Super Bowl, so they could tell their buddy when they're sitting on the couch, I already
pay
saw
attention.
this. Yeah.
There was something during the Olympics. It was the Mr. Beast and Salesforce commercial on the Super Bowl. That commercial I did not think was good at all. But during the Olympics, they had a commercial for their commercial saying that you need to tune in to watch this. It was kind of a behind-the-scenes take on them making the commercial. And then when I watched the actual commercial, I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
And that's the hard part. I didn't even know what they were trying to say. Every commercial or a majority of those commercials, it was buy me, sign up. Like that was the only thing that came from that. It was a different commercial experience this year in the Super Bowl.
I will say the Lay's commercial that had the QR code that was like in the field, you know,
yes.
We couldn't get the QR code to work, not because it wasn't a valid QR code, but just like whatever with our screen where we were watching, we couldn't get it to go. And I'm like, oh, and so you know the other Jen Newman works on that brand, and
you're like,
I was like, dude, your QR code's not working. I didn't tell her. I'm just not going to listen to this podcast.
Like, don't even say it. Don't even say it.
So side note, there is another Jen Newman, and she also runs a marketing agency, but a much, much larger marketing agency, and she is my sister-in-law.
So I want to talk about an ad, and now with the power of a video podcast, for those of you just listening, tune in on our YouTube channel and you can see this. Annie, can you pull up the ad? Can we do that?
There it is. All right.
Okay, so we are going to play this on mute just so we can talk through it and so we don't have to worry about this getting taken down or anything. But this ad, as you can see here, we have a countdown. It looks like a vintage version of a karaoke song, right? And there is a very popular song playing. This is Everybody by the Backstreet Boys. And there is the audio playing, but it's the karaoke track.
Yeah.
Right? It's the karaoke track. And I don't know about you, Jen. When I was at our Super Bowl party, it was just music playing. There wasn't talking. So everyone looked up at the TV.
Okay. Well, this is the part, though. And this is definitely, this is low budget, but clever. Am I the only one yet? So I was like, did I not have these words straight all this time? Because I was like, doesn't he say, am I sexual? And so the words on the screen say, am I so secure? And I didn't even get it. I didn't get it until we were talking about it in our team meeting, because all of us at this party, which were all of a certain age, let's just put it that way, and we're like, well, maybe our hearing's bad. We're like, did I just not know those were the words? And even when the brand was revealed, I didn't make the connection.
The whole time, everyone listening was curious. We're like, what is this? Who's this for? What's going on? And then that so secure piece, that's what made me start thinking, this is either for a security company, this is for like LastPass, something else, right? But for 50 seconds, you have no idea what's going on. Everyone's singing along, the excitement, nostalgic feel. But at the very end, it reveals this is a Coinbase ad.
Yeah.
Crypto.
Yeah. Well,
Crypto.
Was there much else for crypto? This was not the crypto bowl.
No, it was
that
not.
we've had in years past. This was the AI bowl this year.
Yes.
A lot of that, although not as much as I thought there might be. So, and interesting timing given that the, cryptocurrency in general has just taken an absolute bath, in the past couple of weeks. I'm like, well, they still have $8 million to spend.
Yeah.
But they didn't spend much on the video, clearly.
Right. And the piece is it stood out, right? And I think that it did. I'm assuming that their target market has that nostalgic love for Backstreet Boys.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Their target market, well,
I don't know if they're going after Gen Z. I think that they're letting that be for the DraftKings.
I'm thinking about kind of the crypto bro kind of market that just, I don't know if that's, shouldn't it be more like, I don't know, like Rage Against the Machine or something?
Crypto bros, I don't think they use Coinbase. I think they use, what's the other one? Like Coinbase is the number 2 crypto app. So they're trying to get everyone else. Like this is for your average not day trader, but the person who's investing in their 401k. That's the only thing they do. they then have Coinbase, and that's how they're getting crypto in their
Okay.
Coinbase. So like they realize they're not going for the super techie crypto bro that has a crypto wallet and all of that.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe this does narrow in on their target market because it's crypto, not so much people. Like I feel like it might be a little dangerous kind of thing. So
I thought that this ad was great for that specific purpose, right? They know who their target market is. They know that they are going for not the crypto bro. But what's also really interesting, Coinbase in 2022, they also had a Super Bowl commercial, kind of a viral moment. It was only a QR code. They just had the QR code bouncing around on the screen. Another situation where you don't know who the advertisement is for up until the very, very end. This year, they didn't run the risk of crashing their website. So when people were scanning the QR code, it was going to a 404 or it was going to a 301 because the website crashed. This time, they were just curious and watching the whole time. And people hated that commercial.
Oh, really?
They hated it.
Yeah.
They hated it. It got, I think there was only 3 other commercials behind it in the history of the Super Bowl commercial tracking. But that was just opinions.
Right.
Coinbase went from being the, I think, number 168th most popular app to the number 2 most popular app downloaded from the iTunes or from the Apple Store that year. So it worked.
It's one of the few commercials that I paid any attention to. And we were, hanging out and socializing, and there was just a lot going on in the room in general. It was hard to pay attention to anything on TV at all. But this one, it caught our attention because it was a song that my friend started singing. And then we were all just like, wait a minute. Have we been just dumb this whole time?
Right.
So I'm going to give it points for that. I mean, it's not like beautifully produced or anything, but it's different, and people, and it did gain them. It performed the way they wanted it to.
Yeah, and it stands out not only because it's auditorily, it can't go into background noise almost because it's so different from everything else you're hearing. And also, I'm looking straight at you. I can see this bright blue.
Yeah.
Like this is standing out. Like you're going to see it. It's going to make the wall on the other side glow bright blue.
Yeah. Okay, I have to give our producer some credit for this because, we've got this Google Doc going here where we're all collaborating. And we're like, gosh, I wonder who the audience could be if it's not crypto bros. And she's like, the name of the song is Everybody. And she's just sitting over there just like losing it and typing in the Google Doc. So you're right, Annie. You're right.
And sometimes it just takes a couple more viewings before your audience fully gets the advertisement.
Well, I had to have it explained to me, but that's...
And now we're explaining it to you. All.
It's Ryan's favorite thing, explaining it to you.
Love it. Well, Jen, we did it. We recorded our first video podcast. How did it go?
It went fine. It was more natural than I thought. I'm over here trying to not look at the cameras, but it was fine. Like, it's fun.
Yes, it was fun. It was exciting. I'm excited for this new feed and new opportunity. So if you are listening to this, only listening, you can now watch on Spotify and on YouTube. Jen, thank you for being here, for going on this journey. We started the podcast together. Now it's starting the video podcast
I
together.
know. And special thanks to our producers, Andrew Rivera and Annie Sexton-Stewart. They made this set amazing. This looks great. And they put together this podcast every month for us, and they support us, and they just would not come together without them.
Oh,
like,
definitely
for
not.
sure things would be out of focus and the audio would be all screwed up. So
Yes. Well, thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.
see ya.
Are we swearing on this or no?